If I had to give one piece of information as you're beginning your journey, I would say to not think of these peptides as like a magic potion. Hey friends, welcome back to my Gen X Zep Bound journey. Welcome to everyone, because I know this is going to be your first time watching a full episode because it's the first one that I'm recording. So, I'm just going to jump right in, and I'm new to this. I'm doing my best, so be gentle with me in the comments. Yeah. So, I'm Tasha. I have been taking Zepbound. I actually just took my 7th shot right before I opened this up. I did record it. I'm not sure if I'm going to share it on this video because honestly, when I see people give shots, it freaks me out a little bit, but I have a weird aversion to needles despite loving tattoos. I don't know. So, like I said, this was my 7th shot. So, to give my stats, and I'll probably put them here in the edit as well, but my starting weight was 249 pounds. I'm 5 feet 11 inches tall, last that I knew, but I am in my 50s, so it's possible I've shrunk. So 5 foot 11, starting weight 249, current weight 231. And my goal weight, I don't really have a goal weight other than I just don't want to be obese anymore. So I'm kind of just allowing my body to tell me when we're done. I'm not really sure. I know the last time I was like really happy with the way that I looked in clothes, I was right at 200 pounds, which when you're 5'11 is like still curvy, but not, maybe according to the chart, it's obese, but to me, it didn't look obese. I felt comfortable. I felt healthy and strong. So I'm just going to let my body tell me, but I'm thinking around 200 pounds is going to be the move. Okay, so I didn't do a ton of research. I did like a courtesy search on Reddit. I think I did a little bit of searching on Twitter previously. Well, I think currently it's X. It's still Twitter to me. And I didn't really start searching TikTok until after I created a TikTok, which, by the way, is actually also called my Gen X Zepbound journey, but I think the @ is my post-menopausal life. If you want to follow me there, let me know you found me on YouTube and I'll follow you back. So I didn't do a ton of research, so I didn't have a lot to go on. But like I mentioned before, I am a hairstylist, and so how I heard about GLP-1s was through having private conversations with my clients when they all started coming in looking amazing. So I took my first shot and I just did it. I started on September 15th. I took the shot. I didn't really know what to expect, but I'm just like, let's go. So I actually didn't notice any side effects with the first shot at all. However, I did go out of town. So I took that shot on a Monday, and that was the week before my birthday. So I went out of town on a trip with my husband to the Smoky Mountains. There were, I think, 5 couples. We all got a cabin together in the mountains, had a great time. So I was a little bit kind of nervous about that, and I didn't want to stress myself out with the food right away. So while I do count my calories generally, I did not count my calories that weekend. I just kind of ate intuitively. If I was hungry, I tried to make good decisions. I made sure to take good, healthy foods with me. I was just trying to make good decisions. And then I did have several cocktails while I was there. And to my surprise, when I got home, I like to weigh myself on shot day. So we got home on Monday. I weighed myself Monday night, which is crazy because I generally weigh myself in the morning, and I had already lost 2 pounds. And that was like, I didn't do any like crazy exercises. We did go for a couple of walks, but yeah, I mean, I didn't do anything overly crazy. So that was exciting. So then on my second shot day, I did have some lightweight nausea in like kind of early in, but that went away pretty quickly. But what I noticed after my second shot was I had like no appetite. So the first week I did notice the food noise went away. So if you're doing your research, you'll hear about food noise and how that went away. I did notice that the food noise went away, but I was so busy preparing for my birthday and getting ready for the trip that even though I noticed it was gone, it wasn't something that I paid much attention to until the second week. Second week, the food noise was gone, and so was my appetite. I had zero appetite on the second week. So I was really having to force myself to eat. I'm certainly on a weight loss journey, but I'm not trying to have like medically induced anorexia, right? Like I just want to create better habits so that I can feel better, and in the process of feeling better, I expect to also look better. So the not having an appetite was a little bit alarming for me. And so one of the things that I did, and I've got notes here and I'm just gonna use them because I'm a hairstylist, I'm not a content creator. So yeah, zero appetite. So when I struggled to get calories in, I would at least do like a meal replacement shake, generally a protein shake because we are supposed to be keeping our protein up. So I do a protein shake every morning for breakfast anyway. And in fact, I like to put a couple scoops of like an instant iced coffee mix, and now I just have a protein shake iced coffee for breakfast in the morning to take place of my Dunkin' that I used to get every single morning, which is loaded with sugar, loaded with carbs. Like, no. So, but what I find is when I don't have an appetite, I can usually at least get a shake down. So I'll do a protein shake to get my calories up if my calories are too low. What I found is that whenever I hit a stall, and I have hit, now, mind you, it's only been 7 weeks, but there have been days where I'll just be the same weight, like 2 or 3 days in a row. And it's almost always on those days where I haven't gotten enough calories. And I find that if I intentionally add more calorie, like force myself to get more calories in my body, every single time the scale starts moving again the next day. So if I could give like a piece of advice, I would say to really, really press yourself to get all of your calories in. Whatever your calorie goal is, make sure to get all of those calories to help alleviate stalls. Also, making sure that you get all of your water in. Every single time I have a good high protein, high electrolyte hydration day, I lose weight every time. When I stall, it's almost always because I didn't get enough calories and I didn't get enough hydration. So, other initial experiences, I definitely noticed within the first couple of weeks less bloating, like almost immediately. That water weight and inflammation gone. So, like, my face looks so much more narrow today. And again, I'll see if I can add a picture here so you can see my face prior to starting. And then also, I used to have this hump right here on the back of my neck that I noticed when I was taking prednisone regularly. And I believe it was a side effect of the prednisone, but I definitely had like a hump, like a fat hump right here. And that was gone. Like by the end of the second week, that was completely gone. So, yeah, definitely still got back fat, but that hump is gone. So, that was exciting. The other side effect that I've had, but not a ton of, but I have had it, is constipation, which is pretty common if you've been doing your research. Constipation is pretty common. To alleviate that, again, I've been making sure that I'm getting my water in. My goal is 120 ounces of water a day. I generally will have electrolytes mixed in with my water at least half the time. I oftentimes will put like fresh ginger juice. I juice ginger and just kind of keep it in a jar in the fridge, and I'll put like a tablespoon of ginger in the water. It just gives it like a really crisp, fresh taste, but it's also a natural anti-inflammatory. And then it also helps with hydration. Yeah, making sure that you get your hydration in, moving, going for a walk. And listen, I'm a hairstylist. I stand, and I'm in a suite, so I stand in the same place or I'm moving in a very small area all day. Before this journey started, I was not tracking my steps. When I began this journey, I hopped on my app, and I don't remember the name of the app right now, but if you're interested in it, let me know. I'm happy to share it. Like I said, I'm a hairstylist. I'm not a gatekeeper. I want everyone to feel as good as I've been feeling the last few weeks. So when I started tracking my steps in my app, one of the first things I noticed is I was not even walking 1,000 steps a day. That's crazy. Like, that's beyond sedentary. And that's getting up, leaving my house every day, going to work, working all day, coming back, fewer than 1,000 steps a day. There was days where I would hit 600-700 steps in a day. That's crazy. Now that I've been keeping track of my steps, I've been getting at minimum 3,000 steps most days. I do struggle with keeping some sort of device on me to track my steps, but I am being more intentional about my steps. So now when I go to my suite, I definitely take the stairs up and down every day. In between clients, if I have like 15 or 20 minutes, I'll do a few laps around the salon suite area. I'll walk down the stairs and walk around in a pretty big shopping center. I'll go and walk around the shopping center. I'll go walk into one of the stores and just wander around and window shop, but like power window shop, right? Like, oh, that's nice as I walk by. Because I'm not trying to spend money in this economy, okay? But, I just like to see what's out there. It gives me, I can people watch, gives me something to look at. And also I'm getting some additional steps in. I've also found some trails near my house that I love that I didn't even know were there. And they're beautiful and they're paved and people are out walking their dogs and walking with their families. So I've been definitely making it a point to get out and walk more, cognizant of my steps. So moving also helps with constipation. Also making sure that you're getting your fiber in every day. And I have begun taking fiber supplements. However, I spoke with my doctor about it, and she also okayed for me to take Miralax every day. I have not started taking Miralax every day yet. I've found that as long as I keep my hydration high, get my fiber in, and I move every day, everything's moving. So if I can not take an extra, thing internally, then that's what I'm going to do. But it's good to know that I have the option of using Miralax if needed. As far as changes that I've noticed, the biggest thing I've noticed, I mentioned in my intro video that I have rheumatoid arthritis and lupus, actually. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. And so I constantly suffering from inflammation I was diagnosed almost 13 years ago. So I've been living with inflammation and painful joints for almost 13 years. Inflammation is gone. I have had very little pain in my joints since I began this journey, which if you're suffering from an autoimmune disease, if you're an autoimmune disease warrior, make yourself known in my comments. I would love to become in community with you, and let's share with each other. It's having a condition, a disability that is invisible to others. People see me out in public and I look normal to them, right? And they don't know the struggle that we go through on a day-to-day basis just trying to exist. So if you're an autoimmune warrior, make yourself known. I'd love to be in community with you. So that was the biggest thing for me right off the bat. The inflammation being gone was like, I'm sold. If I don't lose a pound, I'm sold if I just keep feeling this way. But I also have so much more energy and just like I'm ready to go. Like in the mornings I used to wake up and I would still be tired. I would like want to lay around in the bed all morning and like just getting up and getting moving would be a struggle. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still lay around in the bed, for 5, 10 minutes, but then it's like I'm ready to go. Like let's get up and get this day going, start moving around. And maybe some of it is just the excitement of like wanting to get my steps in and just feeling really excited about the journey, but also my energy is definitely higher. Also been feeling really motivated. I can't remember if I mentioned it already, but I've also gotten back into water aerobics. Again, having an autoimmune disease, being used to having pain and inflammation in my joints, one of the things that has always, even before taking Zepbound, one of the things that's always helped me is you doing water aerobics or H2O fit or whatever you want to call it. And I remember the first time I ever went to a class, I thought it was for old ladies. Well, first of all, hello, I'm somebody's granny, so I technically am an old lady. Let's start there. But also, what I found is water, exercising in water can be as easy or as difficult as you want it to be. So I'm able to actually really exert myself in the water, but I don't have that high impact on my joints. So I'm able to like really go hard without hurting myself. So that's been really exciting. It feels really good to be able to get back to that again. And I'm just feeling really strong and, like I said, motivated, and I'm loving every minute of that. Still, another change that I've noticed is that, like I mentioned before, I don't have a huge appetite anymore. It's not very often that I feel hungry at all, and I'm still on 2.5 milligrams. My doctor wanted to move me up to 5, and I'm like, look, I can barely eat as it is, so like I'm concerned that if you move me up to 5, I'm not even going to be able to force myself to eat. At least right now, I can make myself eat food, and it doesn't make me feel sick. I'm concerned that if we move up, titrate up my dose, that I will start to feel that nausea. So we both agreed that it made sense for me to stay on 2.5. So even on 2.5, even though I don't feel hunger very often anymore, what I have found is when I do feel hungry, it's not like an overwhelming out of control hunger, right? So like before, I would leave the salon and I'm like famished and I need to eat right now. So now I'm headed to the bar. I'm eating chicken wings and french fries and drinking my alcohol of choice, or stopping at my favorite Mexican restaurant, which is right down the street, and having one or two margaritas with my Mexican. This is like several times a week I'm doing this, or stopping and eating fast food in the car on the way home. And then to come get in my bed and not even have walked 800 steps in the day, like that's insane. So what I love about it is now when I do feel hunger, it is not overwhelming and out of control, and I'm able to still like come home and make myself a sensible meal that's high in protein and has some sort of nutritional value to it, and I'm able to do that without feeling like I have to like shove the first thing in my face I can get my hands on. So I feel more in control of what I'm eating. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up in the comment if I'm making any sense. I feel like I'm rambling. I'm all over the place, but hopefully you guys are finding some kind of good something in here that's useful. If I had to give one like key piece of information as you're beginning your journey, I would say to not think of these peptides as like a magic potion, right? It's not like you take the shot and then you go lay in your bed and do 800 steps a day and you're just going to drop weight and look amazing. what I've found is it still takes work, at least for me, because like I said, I'm not looking for a diet. I've never been into diet culture. I'm not into starving myself. Like, I like food. I love food. I want to continue to love food. I want to continue to enjoy food. I want to continue to enjoy cocktails from time to time, although I will say that I think I've had cocktails in 7 weeks. I've had, I think, maybe 3 or 4 cocktails in 7 weeks, which for me, it was nothing for me to have 3 or 4 cocktails in a week, in a couple of days. Um, so 3 or 4 cocktails in 7 weeks is like, and I don't even miss them. I don't crave them. I honestly don't even think about it. And the last couple of times, well, the first time and the last time, I'll say, my birthday weekend, and then most recently, it was more of just like I'm hanging out with friends and this is what we do together. So I'm just doing it because it's what we do. And I don't even know if I'm going to always do that. There may come a day, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not leaving anything off the table, but if there was one piece of advice, it's not a magic bullet. You still have to plan, you still have to prepare, you still have to work. And I don't want to run the risk of like losing all my muscle as I age. I want to still be strong. I've got 2 grandchildren that I want to be able to run around and play with and enjoy my life with. So I'm going to focus on making sure that I keep as much muscle as possible and just that I'm keeping moving. I want to use Trizepatide to help me create better habits, better eating habits, better exercise habits. And so that for me takes consistency and planning and being intentional with the things that I do. So if I had one piece of advice, that's what I would share. Okay, I feel like I rambled this whole time, but I'm really proud of myself for finishing my first full length video. I want to incorporate Generation X like really heavy into my channel moving forward. So I am working on that. If that's something that you would like to participate in, then I'm going to ask you to leave a sunshine emoji in the comments so that I know who you are. If you're Generation X specifically, leave the red X in the comments and let me know if you have a channel so that I can follow you. Find me on TikTok. Like I said, let me know that you found me on YouTube, and let's be in community together there as well. I think that's it. I'm just going to start rambling again. So, ta-ta for now.